Okay, slightly unplanned video. Came down to, by slightly, I mean I don't have any of my microphone equipment, which, consists of a $10 microphone, so you'll survive. Came down to refresh everybody's water because, the heat is on, so to speak. And little birds are doing okay, but I don't know if you can tell. I know I'm shooting it through a fence line, so you're probably thinking that it's the fence that's making the tree line look as bad as it is, but can you tell how hazy it is? So we can actually smell the smoke now. This morning when I was taking some videos, the haze was here, but the smell of the smoke wasn't necessarily as strong. Now it actually smells like there's fire. Are you coming to see me? Oh, you own the place now, do you? Little rooster. Followed me all the way around. So, I was interested to see how the animals are going to deal with it. We obviously, like I said before, we've had this once before, about 2 years ago. And at that time, it was really, really bad. But it didn't stay around for a long time. It was a couple of days. And that's probably what's going to happen this time too. So it's not going to detriment the long-term health of the animals. But the birds are so sensitive. And the young birds especially. The last time I didn't have young birds. At the time that this, we had wildfire smoke blow in from Canada. So the good news is they all seem to be doing okay. They're a little bit quieter, I think, than usual. And by quieter, I mean a little bit less active. A little bit more reserved. Probably partially because of the heat. And partially because of the smoke. But overall, they seem to be okay. Everybody's alert. Everybody's, checking in on things, I guess is the best way to put it. And nobody seems to be in any distress. The goats, until I disturbed them to put water in their buckets, were all in the stalls. The girls and the boys were all in the stall. And my guess is, again, we've got the fans running in the barn. So it's very likely that it's because the air is circulating in there and it's keeping some of the smoke smell and some of the smoke haze out of the barn, which was why I turned them on this morning. Now, I'm not going into the pen today, or at least at this point in time, primarily because I don't want to get them all riled up, right? I kind of do want them to stay quiet and not pant and inhale more than they need to, right? Just stay kind of calm and collected. But this little guy's feet, little girls actually, which is super cool. Look at the feet on this one. That is a beautifully feathered foot cochin. Not all of them get their feathers quite as big as that. And then sometimes, after they walk around on them, they get all ragged anyway. And you can see that the others, they're coming in, but they're not nearly as developed as hers. I don't know why hers are so beautiful, but man, she's good. And she's also, I call them a self blue. I don't know, somebody else will call them a lavender. Because none of my guys are true to color, call them anything you want and I'll be happy. But yeah, the haze is pretty bad. Even if you look just close by here, let me pull back a little bit. The camera's auto-correcting for some of that. There's just kind of an overall gray cast to everything. And I can smell the smoke. It's not strong, thankfully. I don't feel like I'm struggling to breathe, and it doesn't appear that any of the animals are struggling to breathe. But, yeah, it's hazy. Everybody's happy. Thorn's itchy as always. He's always itchy, but, part of that is his hair growing back. Part of that is because we did find a couple of lice on him, remember? I've talked to you about that a couple times. He's being treated for that, so that should go away with no problem. And part of that is just, I think, Thorn is Thorn. So yeah, that's all that's going on. It was just a quick check in the barn, and I thought I'd give you an update on the little guys, because I know the last video I talked about all of this. I did mention that, now, see, I said I didn't want to get them all wound up, but I ended up doing so. Not me, but because a hawk just went overhead. And I'm glad to see that they have instincts. Did you see what happened there? That's kind of funny, actually. So they scattered at once when the hawk went directly overhead. Now, again, they have a roof, so there's no risk, but they don't know that. Hawk went directly overhead, and the hawks, I would say hawks in general, do check our pastures pretty regularly, so there's always an overhead flyby. They scattered, so I don't know if you saw, but they kind of all went psh, right? And that scatter instinct is so that they're not in a clump, and it's a lot harder for a hawk to dive bomb and catch one, right? That would make sense. They spread out, and the hawk has to pick one, and that one just has to be fast enough. So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to show you because the camera's not going to pick up on them, but there's actually 2 hawks right now, and they are at the bottom of the donkey pasture, just doing some passes. They're looking for rodents. They're looking for things that they can catch. And I'm perfectly okay with that, because if they help keep everything in check, as long as they're not touching my birdies. And he went overhead super fast, right? Like he had no interest in the birds whatsoever. He was soaring past to go work the pastures. But they scattered, and then the little ones once the hawk was past, they all kind of came back and gathered up here by me, which was just so cute. So I guess I'm still considered safety, at least for the moment. They lose that once they go into the big flock and they're kind of out there on their own. And now they're going to settle in for their afternoon siesta. They've had a little fresh water, they probably had a little snacky poo, they had a little scare, and now it's time for a nap. So now for sure, and yeah, hopefully you can tell how hazy it is out there on the horizon. If I zoom in, the camera starts to correct for the lighting, and that's kind of annoying when I want to show you something, but such is life, right? First world problems. So at any rate, just wanted to share where we were, let you know that everybody's doing okay, at least for now. We'll keep an eye on it. This is all supposed to blow through in another day or 2 at max, plus we're supposed to get a break from the heat, which will be nice. So hopefully, by the time you see these videos, actually, this will all be done already. That is the plan anyway. So, and there's Finn for you, coming out for a little cameo. Isn't that right, Mr. Finn? Yeah. Oh, now you're going to be itchy too. See, they just rub. That's what bucks do. And that's how they end up with no bangs, because they're bucks. Okay, now for sure. I got work to do. I got to go feed the little dogs, who are mad that they can't come down to the barn with me, but I can't have Hugo running around in this, so they have to live with that. Until next time, there's work to be done. Bye for now.